you go after that, everyone kind of rallies together to go after this one person, this one thing, or this one entity. The problem here is that when everybody understands that it's a scapegoat game, nobody wants to play. But if you don't realize you're all chasing the scapegoat, then everyone's up in arms. It's one of these things that it kind of like if you knew how the trick was done, the magic is no longer magic.
Yeah.
It's one of those that it's very interesting how it plays out, but yeah, it's all stemming from this Rene Girard influence on Peter Thiel that like I said, will shape the way that he acts in the next upcoming years here.
Yeah.
Right after this 92, 94 period of his life.
Yeah, like how he makes the decisions he makes. But going back to that, so Stanford, he met David Sachs, who they end up becoming business partners and starting
PayPal was the company.
PayPal. But before that, he had was that Confinity that came before that?
It was Confinity as a investment firm, I believe.
That's right. That was after
That was in 2004.
After the PayPal.
But before then, he actually, the PayPal stuff was online payments. And so I believe that was in 96 or 98.
Yes.
Somewhere around there.
96
he started
about that. 96.
Yep. He started online payments. The first kind of its kind to do electronic payments through over the web. The web was becoming a really big thing in that era. And so they kind of rode that wave of how do you get somebody to pay you online without having to, be in person.
Yes. Okay, so and to fill in a little bit of some gaps there. So he got his Juris Doctorate.
That is, you're right. He actually, did he actually pass the bar?
I don't know.
I don't know if he actually passed the bar.
Yeah.
I don't know if he actually used it as a lawyer, but I know he worked in a couple law offices.
Yeah, and so and then he worked as a securities lawyer in New York, and then he left the law firm in under a year. He then took a job as a derivatives trader in currency options at Credit Suisse in 1993 while working as a speechwriter for former United States Secretary of Education William Bennett. Thiel returned to California in 1996. Upon returning to the Bay Area, Thiel capitalized on the dot-com boom. With financial support from friends and family, he raised $1 million towards the establishment of Thiel Capital Management and embarked on his venture capital career. Early on, he experienced a setback after investing $100,000 in a friend. And then it says that they ended up, after doing that, he ended up getting into a cryptography-related company idea, which became their first venture called FieldLink, later renamed Confinity in 1998. And then it talks about how FieldLink, he initially provided the first $100,000 for that. And in February 1999, they raised $500,000 from friends and family. By the middle of 1999, they raised $4.5 million from Nokia Ventures. And that's when they went and unveiled PayPal in 1999.
So he's got a lot of rich friends and family.
Yeah, it
that's
seems
like it's like $2 million of friends and family.
Yeah, I'm just noticing how like a lot of these people are very, very good at raising money. We talked about Rockefeller last time and how he was the great borrower, and he was very comfortable borrowing money. Came from his And I think a lot of that came from his accounting background, knowing how money moves, how it operates, what he can get away with, what he can't get away with, when he needs to pay things back, so that way he's not losing. And it seems like Thiel is one of those people. Elon Musk, of course, is very good at raising money. So it's a good thing to understand, I think, as a founder, is knowing how to do that. But another thing that I see is that they first tap on their
friends and family
circles, and then they go and expand beyond that, which I think is also a key thing to remember in how we look at how they look at companies, because he even talks about how it's a red flag to see an entrepreneur who's trying to get 1% of $1 trillion market. He says, dominate your small markets first, and then expand beyond that and move into adjacent markets.
Right.
So I think there's a through line in that ideology.
Yeah, I think that mentality that he'll get to in terms of that from 0 to 1, I think is shaped through the small stint he had in those being a lawyer, a speechwriter, and a investment banker or a trader, and then obviously starting PayPal. Like that, I feel like shows a really clear journey of like, okay, this makes sense. We're gonna start from a stronghold of dominating a market and then expand, and then go into all those other cool things he talks about in 0 to 1. But in PayPal, I believe PayPal started as cryptography.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like that was at the time a really clear next step for him because he already had that cryptography and that fund. But PayPal didn't just stop there.
Yeah. So they realized that they with Confinity, and I'm just kind of going through the wiki stuff, and we'll add some more stuff in later, but with Confinity, Thiel realized they could develop software to bridge a gap in making online payments. Although the use of credit cards was expanding, automated teller machine networks provided consumers with more payment options, and not all merchants had the necessary hardware to accept credit cards. And so they ended up creating PayPal, and they had a couple different things that they were doing within their ecosystem. But what they ultimately ended up happening was they were competing with Elon Musk's X.com at the time. And he talks a little bit about this in his book 0 to 1, and it's noted history, but they were going back and forth, and they realized that they were just hurting each other by competing against each other. They were driving their prices down, their rates down. They were doing things where they were buying like customers just to get ahead of one another.
It was detrimental to the progress.
Right. So they both sat down together and said, hey, we would be better if we merged companies. PayPal or Confinity acquired X. Peter Thiel was the CEO at the time at first, or was it Elon?
Elon was first.
Elon was the first CEO.
Not for very long.
And then he got ousted.
On a honeymoon. On his honeymoon, the PayPal board of directors voted to replace him, or to change the name back to PayPal, because they kept it with X.
Okay.
They reverted it back to PayPal while he was on his honeymoon, and then I believe removed him and installed Peter there, which obviously isn't like, I don't know, a very nice thing to do. We're in business though, and so not everyone's nice. Something to note here that we did talk about in the Elon episode. It was when this happened to Elon, he could have walked away, fuming and just pissed off, but he ended up just like keeping on good terms with everybody there, and which paid dividends for him later in his career. But a really sticky situation where you're on vacation and the entire team is like, yo, you're not the guy anymore.
Yeah, you come back. He remained the largest shareholder.
Right.